Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 4 of Nuggets Don't Fly. As always, I'm joined with the ever present Graham Crawford. How are you, sir?
Hello, Chappie. Hello, Olly. I'm very good, thank you.
Great.
Man. And accompanying him, as per usual, is Mr. Ollie Webb. How are you, Ollie?
I'm brilliant, Chappie. Good weekend of rugby to talk about, so I'm excited.
Yeah, lads, let's just get straight into it. There's some breaking news that has recently been announced. Ollie, do you care to share it with the listeners?
I heard it just two minutes before going on air. CJ Stander, assuming he's picked on Saturday, that'll be his last game for Ireland, and if he's not picked, then that's him done. And with Munster as well, so can only assume he's going back to South Africa for personal reasons. But that's CJ done. I don't know. He might still get picked for the Lions. Probably deserves it. But as far as Ireland and Munster goes, that's him done. So yeah.
Very sad.
Graham, if this is his last game, this weekend coming, where does he rank in terms of the all-time Irish greats, the back row?
Oh, he's up there in the top five, I would say. Anyway, he's up
Yeah.
there with the Stephen Ferrises and David Wallaces. I'd say he's top three for me. I think he's unreal.
Yeah, is he better than Heaslip?
Better than Heaslip, yeah. I'd say he's better than Heaslip.
Lads. Okay, I love CJ, but let's not disrespect Heaslip.
We're not disrespecting him, but
he had the potential to be better, but he only has 50 caps. Heaslip had a good nearly 100.
Yeah.
CJ
and he
had another 30 in him at least.
Yeah, and Heaslip as well. I think he retired when he was like 30. I don't know, but he was still very young with the injury. So yeah, lads, will he be going on the Lions tour?
I'm not sure because it did say that he's retired from all rugby, but you would like to see him on the Lions tour because you can see him. Or maybe he's not wanting to go on the Lions tour because he doesn't want to play South Africa.
No, I don't think that's it. Sure, he's played South Africa before.
All right.
I don't know. If he decides not to, then he'll obviously not be going. But I think he deserves to go. He's been playing well enough. That's definitely not the issue. But I'm shocked by that. Ireland are going to have to find a replacement fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they have a few options though.
We'll get into that later. So we just thought we'd give the big man a bit of praise. Lads, what beverages have you got today? Graham, what are you drinking?
I've got a potted tea, and I've got some cloudy apple juice as well. Copella.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Someone bought me this actually, so it was nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the Yasmin green tea. Very, very nice. It's not mine, but it's lovely.
Fancy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it very basic in comparison now. Just a black coffee and a bottle of water. So
fair play. Yeah. It's a nice wee mug you have
the
there.
Water also.
Thanks, Bay. Bit of a industrial scene.
Aye, it's lovely.
Nice
mug. All right, has anyone got any stories you want to share this week? Any crack?
The best crack this week was a bit of fishing.
It was what, Ollie?
I did a bit of fishing this week.
Nice, Ollie.
Oh, how was that?
The rod down with me here in Galway, and I was a bit bored there on Tuesday or Wednesday, so I took the rod out. And I didn't catch a fish, but I essentially did because it was on the hook, like, and then it's a fairly cheapy rod. Line snapped while I was bringing it in, so it was a classic John Harrison scenario.
So the fish got away, that you caught the fish, but you never got.
I got out strengthened by a fish, so
must be a big one.
It was big enough, yeah, for sure. It would have fed the family anyway.
I think I've seen that scene on the In-Betweeners before, to be honest. Like, you're trying to beat up the fish.
I was well prepared to punch it to death after, yeah, but I didn't get the opportunities.
Fair play.
Myself, I watched a horror film last night. It was called Midsummer. Have you heard of it?
But yeah, no. Like the creepy, like cult one, is it?
Yeah, it's like a cult in Sweden and stuff. It's like they're related to Hereditary, like that crazy scary. It's weird, like it's friggin' weird. I don't think I'd recommend watching it. There's people with heads, like where they're missing heads, like there's dead bodies everywhere. There's guts. Like, if that's your
Did
thing,
you-
watch it. But
did you
like, I
watch
don't
it
think I'll be watching it again.
Yeah, did you watch it alone?
No, I watched it with the woman. Like,
Okay.
I think she was more scared than I was, but I was not. I was not brave either.
Oh, you have to
Don't
play it
think I
off.
would.
Like, no matter how scared you are, you can't be scared when you're with the woman. Like,
Aye.
but
Yeah.
you know, Chappie's a jumpy man, not a horror movie. He'll have the best of
That's
I'm not
true.
a fan of horror movies at all.
Oh,
Oh, they've
did
got
you
their
watch any
time and
movies?
place now.
Yeah, I'd have to cover
Did
the
you watch
eyes.
any movies this week, Graham?
I watched one last night. Something about where the person goes to jail for revenge. Have you ever heard of it? I need to.
That's fine. Like that's about half the action films.
I know. I forget what it's called, but it's very popular. But I need to back you up on what it's called. I went swimming as well this weekend to see.
Oh, good man.
Yeah,
Very cold.
it was freezing.
Was it not cold? Yeah.
Yeah, it was very cold. Couldn't really feel anything once I got out.
I'd said the Scottish Sea's fairly deadly. I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, very glad. Right. So we'll get into the game week 4, I think, of the Six Nations. So it was a couple of days ago. First match was Wales. It was Italy v Wales. Italy just seemed to be getting worse and worse, don't they? Like they started off pretty bad against France, bad against England, even worse against Ireland. And like, Olly, do you think this is their worst performance of the tournament so far?
Oh, definitely. That's definitely their worst performance. Their best was against England, and it still wasn't great. But this was their worst by far. Sure. The first try was scored after 2 or 3 minutes, and the game was completely dead and buried after 20. Like, there was no way they were going to win that game. I thought they might push Wales, to be honest. I honestly thought we had a lot of predictions going around, and I thought it would be like, well, I predicted 30, but just before I was thinking maybe 20 odd.
Yeah.
But sure, Wales had scored 20 points after 20 minutes, and Italy were absolutely woeful. Like, some of the tries they concede is just basic errors, just not tackling. Like, and you can't be doing that in the Six Nations.
I don't know.
Yeah, definitely not. Graham, what was your thoughts on the game?
Italy really just didn't come out again. I don't know how. You should see the coach during it. He was putting hands down and all. He was like, "What is even going on here?" I felt so bad for him. And Ollie said it, the basics they can't do right at all. They don't. It's like they don't even know how to play rugby sometimes.
I think Italy is like that one player in your team where you've had an injury and the only guy on the bench is like the guy who's played rugby twice.
Yeah.
He comes on and he looks completely out of place. He doesn't know what he's doing, but at the same time, everyone feels a bit bad for him because he's trying his hardest, but he just doesn't get it at all.
That's a good summary, to be fair. I've been like, their game is always just the 2:30 on Saturday. Like, you couldn't waste another game slot with them. Like, it has to be the warm-up game. You couldn't have them on a Sunday because no one would watch it. Like, and you couldn't have them at the 5 o'clock. Like everyone just knows well that they're not pulling their weight.
Why do you think that they have got the 2:30 slot on a Saturday? Is it, think that's down to like religious reasons or something?
Don't know.
It's just not as good a game, so it's just warming up for the other games, I think.
Yeah. One of the big talking points of the game that I thought was the Dan Bigger high tackle penalty. Graham, when you saw it in real time, what was your first instinct?
Well,
that was the shoulder.
It's a bit like a few of the other tackles which people have got yellow cards for, so it's a hard one really to talk about because he goes in with the shoulder, but then the shoulder goes up the way, so it's kind of unlucky. That always happens, and then I think he should have maybe got a yellow card if it was based on if they were actually looking properly at the rules or they looked at other players who've done it before. But I mean, it's Wales' luck that they didn't. So hard one to.
Yeah, that's true. My take on it was that the whole issue with giving out cards for these type of instances has been like one of the main talking points of the tournament.
Yeah.
Our cards not meant to be given based on the action, not like if any injury is caused or how severe it is. Because when I was looking at it, he's upright, the other player's upright, there's no mitigating circumstances. he hits him maybe even at the neck. Like honestly, I thought it was a red. I'll be honest. I saw no mitigating circumstances. He was so high. He hit him with shoulder. Dangerous area. Ollie, would you agree with that?
When you you make a very good argument when you break it down. I'm still sort of, my head's still sort of like 5 years ago, where a red card has to be like basically dropping like a man on his neck. Like, you're right in saying that the injury shouldn't matter, because like you can tackle someone normally and they can like still hurt themselves. But even like as a referee, it's going to be hard to ignore if someone gets injured. You might be a little bit like biased or whatever. But, I would have given it a yellow card. It definitely deserved the card, but it's the real Wales. They're just getting lucky. It's going to be the jammiest Grand Slam I've ever seen if they manage to do it. But sure, I will be supporting against France now, to be honest, because they've been good enough. So
yeah, they've not been bad.
Graham,
who stood out with you in that Welsh backline last weekend?
Well, Josh Adams, I thought, was a consistent winger. Scored the tries when he needed to score. Made the tackles. I think when he got the ball, he made a good few meters every time. He like got past the gain line. Who else? You see the man who came on, Jonathan Davies, I thought played really well as well. People have said that didn't think he played well, but I thought he played all right.
I had him as my fantasy captain, so I wasn't too happy with his performance.
Oh, were you not?
No, in reality, yeah, he played all right.
Aye. And then the Holo Hodo dude that came on, I thought he had a good game. I think he was a sub, wasn't he?
Yeah. Sub back 3 player.
Yeah, he played well. I thought he had a good big game when he came on.
I think the Welsh backline is incredible. Like, I would argue you could make a case that they have the best back 3 in the world, with Rees-Zammit, Adams and Williams.
Yeah.
Adams and Williams are 2 Lions starters in my opinion, and Rees-Zammit is only 20 and he's only going to get better. I'm not necessarily saying they are the best back 3, but I would listen to you if you were making a case for it. And George must have been really good at 13. I always thought he was quite weak there, but he's still
North, previous years he didn't seem to be able to play 13, but I think definitely this season he's passed the 13 test. We've seen the likes of Tommy Bowe try convert from the wing to 13 and just didn't really work out, did it? But certainly this season they seem to find a able-bodied replacement for Jonathan Davies when he's out injured, and any other centres. Graham, you were talking about Josh Adams, and Ollie, you mentioned that he's in your Lions team. Like I don't know if I agree with that personally, but what did you make of his finish? I think it was in the second half where it was disallowed, and it looked like a certain try. I thought that was a really poor finish from him.
Was that when he was put out, or?
Yeah, so he was over the line, he just didn't ground the ball.
Yeah.
Put out dead.
Yeah. I think because when you're a professional, you should be touching that down, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And then just these. Yeah, professional winger should be touching that down, really.
Ollie, what do you think?
Should be putting it down. He was just over the line. I'm sure it was a poor finish, but I wouldn't touch him.
Yeah.
He is a great player. In a bigger game, he would make sure. It's probably he just didn't really care either way, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing on the Italy-Wales match. Say that Wales do go on to beat France, you've probably got to give a player of the championship from the Welsh team. I'll ask each of you, who would it be and why. And Ollie, I'll start with you if you're ready.
I might need to start with Graham. I need a bit of thinking time. No, I can give you one. If Graham needs more time.
Well.
Yeah, go for it, sure.
You have to give credit to him for this, but maybe not. People might not agree with this, but I think Louis Rees-Zammit, he's some player. He played so well this tournament, and he's been consistent all games, every game. He scored a try most games and tackled. His defending is unreal as well. It's hard to find a winger who's good at defending and scoring tries. He's a wee bit like Tommy Bowe back in the day, I think.
He is, yeah, a
Um,
young Tommy Boo.
Yeah, and yeah, I think he be man of the tournament, in my
He's had a bit
opinion.
of a Stockdale breakout season. Like, he's definitely catching the headlines. I would go with Justin Tipperick. I think he's been the consistent back row player for Wales. He's always in the top 2 or 3 tacklers, turnovers, doesn't give away penalties. And like Reece Zammit does the flashy stuff, but I think if Tipperick was taken out, they'd miss him an awful lot. So, and he's a very underrated player, Tipperick, because he's had some career, I think. And I would give it to him if they go on to beat France.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm honestly going to go quite edgy with my opinion here. I think Wyn Jones, the loose head prop, I think he's been absolutely fantastic across all games. The Ireland game, he got man of the match. Scotland match, he got a try. England match, he played brilliantly. They dominated the scrum. And then Italy match, like it's just Italy, like who cares?
Yeah.
I think forwards especially, like you've mentioned Tipperick there, he definitely deserves a mention, and also Faletau's been absolutely incredible this season. I think he went from probably not making the starting Lions squad to definitely making the Lions starting squad.
Yeah.
And that's an opinion that everyone would share. So Wyn Jones would be my choice. If he puts in another performance against France, I think he deserves it.
Yeah, it's a good decision. Yeah.
Okay. Should we go on to the second match?
Let's do that.
Yeah.
The second match was France-Scotland. Graham, give me some main talking points from that match.
France-England.
Sorry, yeah, France-England.
France were unreal, and England were unreal as well. It was such a good game, such a tight game. You love it when the two big guns come out. That's why you can tell why it's called the crunch now. You can see where they're coming from. It's like two massive teams coming against each other and they're hitting each other like mad as well.
Probably the two biggest packs of the tournament, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. And
the two biggest packs.
Yeah.
It's like a war.
Aye. But I felt England did win it. I felt like they deserved to win it. Like France, they played very well, but I think it was England's game to win. A few very good standout performances as well. Itoje and Farrell finally stood up as well for their team against a big French pack as well. You'd be considering them again for Lions because people were not backing them last week because how bad they've been playing. But now you can tell why they're big game players now.
Yeah, Ollie, have you got anything to add to that? What did you take from the game?
I agree with Itoje and Farrell. Like, you keep selecting them, and they are going to come good eventually. And it was the two of them key difference in winning the game in the last 10. I don't know. I feel like France. I feel like it was the best game of the championship so far. I'll start off by saying that it was absolutely brilliant. I don't know. France could have put the game to bed. England did very, very well to stay in it and did deserve to take it in the end. But France could have scored a lot more tries. I think France looked a lot more dangerous than England. But just England knew how to. I think England's experience came through really. France, you could tell they were quite a young team and probably could have put England to bed. But England deserved their win. But it was a great game. My favourite player was a little bit disappointed now. He was my fantasy captain and he made a few uncharacteristic errors, but a great game, all right.
Yeah, Dupont was definitely one of the more disappointing French players, even though he still grabbed a try. Like that's just average for him, isn't it? The players that disappointed me was the French back three. I thought the fullback played all right, but the two wingers were very poor. Thought Watson absolutely destroyed his opposite number. Johnny Med didn't have a great game, but like the French wingers for such an open game, I would have expected them to get involved a bit more. Like for free offloading and loads of space to run into. It also seems like most teams have understood that like most of France's like front football seems to come from their back row, like Olly and co. So that seems to be like nullified greatly. They're still making carries, but they're not getting far. And I think that's what England did very well. Like Tom Curry again, he's the starting lion now, isn't he, Graham?
He's so good at rugby. Like you
he's-
love to watch it.
He's just good at rugby. Like there's nothing else you can say.
He's just unreal at the breakdown, carrying everything, tackling. He's unreal at tackling. You love to watch him tackling.
Do you think that England won that game or France lost it?
I think England. Actually, it's a good question, Chappie. It was France's
You can
to
think
win.
about it.
Like yeah, like France. That was a game for them to win the Six Nations, really. But yeah, I think it was England's to win. They came out on top. They played well. They played a lot better in their last few games, so I think they deserved it.
Yeah, Olly, another man who stood out for England. He's one of your favourite players, Conan Dickey. He had a great game, didn't he?
No, he was fantastic. As far like he's earned the start against Ireland, as far as I'm concerned. His carries were phenomenal. He just so many carries and went forward every single time. Got his line out. I don't know. Maybe in set piece, George might be slightly stronger, but in terms of around the park, you're going for my man Dickey like every day of the week.
He's your man.
He's got to start the next game, even if it is against us, which is a scary prospect. But he definitely took his chance for sure. And I don't know. I had the feeling England were going to come good eventually. We all did predict a France win, but England were never going to stay that bad for long. And I don't know. I think without going into the preview of next week, I think it might be a hard one for us now because now they've got the win under their belt.
Yeah, I know it's a St. Paddy's Day special, lad, but like we are a bit scared for next week, aren't we? We are the big match.
Yeah, big game.
I'm not telling anyone.
Two of the big guns.
Yeah, we weren't scared of Scotland at all. Like, well, you know.
Yeah, and on that point, Scotland v Ireland. I think that was the most Scotland versus Ireland game that there's ever been. It was so 2005, just two people just scrapping it out for 80 minutes. Not that great of a standard, but not terrible at the same time. If there was ever a game that deserved to be a draw, I think it was that one, Graham.
Yeah, you said it, Chappie.
Yeah.
I think it was Ireland. I think they should have put a few more points on Scotland. I believe. I think it was theirs to win it at 24-10. They should have just kept it going. They shouldn't have let. I don't know how to let Scotland come back into it. James Lowe's a good player, but just that tackle. It was just that one tackle. I think letting Hugh Jones in was one of the talking points, biggest talking points in the game. I think.
Let's not get it confused, Graham. James Lowe is not a good player.
Fuck, he's a good attacker, but he's not a good defender.
Not a good player.
He's a good attacker.
He's a good Leinster player, but he's not a good international.
But you should see the stats.
We've really seen that clearly now. Like he's probably fifth choice winger for Ireland.
He's got the most meters in the tournament.
Does he?
Well, that's what happens when you get the ball.
I know, but I mean, like you can't not say he's not a good attacker, but he's a good defender. Or no, he's not.
He's got the nicest
not a
hair
good
on the Ireland team.
He's a bad
defender.
defender.
Yeah.
His hair's rotten. It's so greasy.
Oh,
no way.
It's very impressive. Like.
Nah, lads. Here, you look at Jacob Stockdale. He's better than Lowe in every way on the international stage. defensively and offensively and kicking. Well, maybe not kicking, but
No, kicking he's pretty good at.
Yeah. But like, lads, Earlsy's better, Larmer's better, Stockdale's better, Conway's better.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that
Earls
they're
was
not
very,
better.
very good.
What do you mean? That's what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, this the first Irish try. Olly, walk us through it. It was a bit of a shite kick from Johnny, wasn't it?
You summed it up earlier when you're like, it was the most whatever Ireland v Scotland game. It was very entertaining game, but it was like minis or like school rugby. Like the first two tries were ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like Johnny Sexton kicks it, and there is space for Keith Earls, but he gets the kick completely wrong. Like it's way too short. It should just be easily claimed by. It was a 2-on-1.
Yeah, it was Hoggy and Chris Harris. I think.
And Earls is the shortest of the three of them and the smallest, and he somehow gets in there, tops it back, and then Henshaw gets the easiest try of his life. I mean, it was very lucky, but sure, like Scotland's first try was even more ridiculous. I thought, like, literally, Ringrose kicked it through, Hogg blocks it down, comes off his chest, doesn't lose it. Russell manages to fucking chip James Lowe.
It's
and
like
then
he
just
tried
go
to.
in for the try. Like, it was like literally.
It was absolutely disgrace.
It's like he tried to kick it off James Lowe.
Yeah, I don't blame Lowe for that, but it just looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
I feel like if Scotland v Ireland, it's like watching your son play, and if your son wasn't playing at all, you'd be like, you wouldn't care about the game at all. You'd be like, that was terrible. You would not be interested.
Wait,
Graham,
was it like
in that game?
How did the Scottish boys find it?
Scottish boys, well, got a bit angry at points, to be honest. Like a bit unnecessarily as well. Like thought the game was over after the first try, which I thought was a bit extreme.
Fair enough.
Graham, how did the Scots find it over in Big Edinburgh?
They weren't too happy with the ref, let's just say.
Well, the ref got involved, didn't he?
Yeah, you know, I thought the ref had a good game. But the lads here, they aren't too happy about the ref. And they're saying, well, to be fair, they were saying it was Ireland's to win. Ireland deserved to win it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, can't win them all.
Graham, you're dropping one player for the big match against England. Who's it going to be?
Probably James Lowe.
Olly, can you disagree with that?
I don't disagree at all. No, it's got to be James Lowe.
Yeah. Are we bringing Stockdale in to 23 at least? Yeah.
No,
I think into the 15 straight swap for Lowe.
You'd bring him into 15, Ollie?
Or no, into the 15, like 11.
All right.
I'd say Earls and actually, yeah, Stockdale. Can't really think of another winger. Larmer, but I don't know.
Right.
Rob Little should be considered for Ireland.
All right, and maybe not. And one point here we need to emphasise is the Ulster men stood up, didn't they? Thought Hendy played unbelievable. I thought Rob, lads, he does the dirty work, Ollie. Like as you said, that he's the man. Like he's not the main man, but he's definitely the man.
He's definitely one of the men that's there. Like,
yeah, he definitely is there. Like, here Hendy was class, Graham, wasn't he?
Hendy's so good. I actually love Hendy. Hendy and Byrne, but Hendy, people would rather play. I think I'd rather play Henderson rather than James Ryan right now. It's a bold statement, but
yeah,
I can see that.
Just on form, like.
Yeah, and he's so good at the breakdown. Like he's at every breakdown, and his carries are unreal as well. Makes the game line every time.
He does, yeah.
Makes the tackles. Yeah.
I think it's kind of strange to think about it that James Ryan isn't the Lion yet. Like you kind of he's been at the top for so long, you kind of expect him to be one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I
I
think
don't think he was on the last.
so hyped in the early years of his career, but like, when was the last time he's been like absolutely standout, like man of the match? Because he's just, I don't like, people will say he does all the hidden work, like, but I don't know. That just
But
to
he
me seems a
doesn't
bit
though.
of a cop out. Like everyone just is under the impression that he's unreal. So you're like, oh, he must be doing the hidden work, but like maybe he's
No,
not.
you're Ollie. You're spot on. Like that whole kind of hidden work argument is like, as you said correctly, it's a cop out. You know, Tag Burn, you see him and he's class, and you look at the stats, and he does the dirty work as well.
Yeah.
You know, you look at Henderson, you can see the dirty work that he's doing, and you also know that like when he's on the field, he's calling the lineouts, either him or O'Mahony. And like that, yeah, that's the stuff that maybe you don't see, but it's absolutely vital in a team. With Ryan, I think he's a bit like a Toji in the sense that if he plays well, you'll know he plays well.
Yeah.
And if he plays bad, like you'll know he plays bad.
Yeah. Although I think having all three of them in the team has been unreal. Having Henderson and Ryan, and then having Byrne at 6, like I would keep that. It's going really well. And how well has our lineout been? Like our lineout's been unbelievable this Six Nations. Like Scotland only won 2 lineouts on Saturday. I don't know how many they had, but like that was probably the single main reason they threw that game away. They lost the game. Like to win 2 of your own lineouts is shocking. Like.
Yeah, and I thought you've got to credit that to O'Connell. Like when he was brought in, I'll be honest, I thought it was like a bit of a PR stunt. Like he's done like maybe a year at the under-20s. Like you've fed at the top for ages. Like you've done a year in management, get him into the Ireland squad. But Graham, like he's absolutely transformed the lineout, hasn't he?
Yeah, like it's definitely. I think that because of his lineout now is definitely because of Paul O'Connell. That's why it's so good at the moment. But you can't blame it all for you can. Or I said it before in another podcast saying that Paul O'Connell is definitely a game changer at the moment.
You did. To be fair, you called it early doors. But
yeah.
Well, Paul O'Connell and Rob Herring is the international rugby dream team that no one saw coming. Like, yes, men are destined for greatness.
I wonder why they couldn't bring in like someone like Stringer to sort out the scrum half, like because Gibson Park was great, did he, lads?
I thought he played well. I thought he had a good game.
Really?
Yeah.
Like he's solid enough. Like.
He just kicks away.
Maybe it's just the tactics. Yeah.
Just those stupid kicks sometimes. That's all he does badly, I think.
I mean, it's just if there was no one else, then you wouldn't mind. But like, just with Cooney in the form that he is, it's just annoying that he's not getting.
Yeah.
But apart from that, Gibson Park's actually a grand enough player, I think.
Yeah, we'll not get into that because we'll be slabbering for about another half an hour about Cooney not being involved.
Fair enough, yeah.
So should we take a quick break here, lads?
Yeah. Do you think that should be all right?
All right. Yeah, see you in part 2 for some predictions for the final game week, Super Saturday.
Boom, boom, boom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of Nuggets and Fly, episode 4. This will be our last group of predictions, as it is the final game week approaching. With Scotland, France, we don't really know what's going on there. So, that's probably when. Do you know when that's going to be played? Either of you?
I think it'll be just after the week after. I would say.
Is that what you think, or is that like what they're saying?
I think.
Oh, okay. I see. Super Saturday this weekend. All 3 games on Saturday. First match, Scotland, Italy, 2:15. Graham, anything you want to say on this fixture?
I would like to see Scotland putting a good few points in Italy, but I can see Italy's last game. They sometimes I always see on their last game they always put up a fight. So, but Scotland, I think, are too good for Italy at the moment, and they'll put a good few points on them, especially in the second half.
I can't remember a time in the Six Nations where there's been as big of a gulf between the top 5 and Italy.
Yeah.
We were saying off camera that the tournament has been so competitive this year. If Scotland, the games that they lost against Ireland, against Wales, I think there was about 6 points in both games, and they could be on track for a Grand Slam. So it's so competitive, and it's the same with Ireland as well. There was only 2 points against Wales and maybe 3 against France. And obviously, if they'd got a penalty or something at the end, which they probably should have, you'd be looking at a different story. Olly, do you want to see? I know you're a big fan of playing the young ones against Italy. Would you change the team much for this match for Scotland, or how would you approach it if you're a manager?
I would, yeah. I couldn't name you many names, to be honest, of the young Scottish lads coming through. But I think you got to play them. The tournament's gone for Scotland, and it's a prime opportunity to get the lads good, proper quality test match. I think if you were a Scottish fan, you'd be very disappointed to be in this position after the big win against England. Should have beaten Wales. They really could be on for something special, but it's just another classic Scotland year, which must be really disappointing. But I think Scotland will win, and they'll win big, especially in Murrayfield, and they'll want to bounce back from that last game, and I think they'll do a job. And as for Italy, I think they'll just be happy to get it over and done with and be heading home, because it's been another bad year for them.
Yeah, it hasn't been great. Graham, there's been a few bright sparks for Italy over the tournament. You've got Garbisi, Negri, and then the newly capped Ioane. Who would you say has been Italy's player of the tournament, if you had to pick?
Player of the tournament for Italy, from me, they were all good players, all 3 of them. Their Tendo, I think, was the standout for me, because he really controlled the game for Italy. You didn't really see it, but I feel like he did control the game for Italy. He did it well as well. I think he's about 20 years old or something as well. And to have him coming up for Italy is exciting for them. And it felt like, I think he set up most of the tries Italy scored, didn't he? From what I believe, he was involved in most of them.
A lot of them.
Yeah. And Ioane, or whatever, he's a powerful winger, which Italy actually really needs. It's back in the day, I think they had, what's his name? I'm not sure what his name is, but the one with the long scraggly hair. But he was really good, and that's who he reminds me of a wee bit. And you like to see it, but you want to see Italy playing against. I think I want to see Italy playing against other teams like Georgia and that, to see how well they play against them. But
Italy. Just to wrap up on that fixture, Italy could do with playing a weaker opposition maybe, and Scotland probably don't really have the same depth of youngsters as the other nations do. The 2 players that I would like to see involved, I don't know if they would be, the 9 and 10 duo for Glasgow Warriors, Ross Thompson and Jimmy Dobie. I think they're 19 and 20. Dobie's been in the Scotland squad once, and Thompson is just tearing it up for Glasgow at the moment. So it'd be quite nice to see them on the bench, but I can't see it happening.
I think if you're a Scottish coach, you would be saying, you never know what's happened. If France beat Wales and we beat Italy, we could still look at winning the championship on points difference and all the rest. So I think Scotland do have to take it seriously and do go out and get the full 5, and I definitely think they will.
Have Scotland? Yes, can Scotland mathematically win the tournament, but all of the other fixtures need to go in their favour or something? Is that it?
I think if they beat,
because they've had 2 losses already, I think.
Oh, they've had 2 losses, yeah.
And they've still to play France. And I think that one might be in Paris. But
might be bonus
never mind.
point wins
Play the youngsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, flip it anyway. All right, second game. Pretty tasty fixture, lads. Ireland, England in Dublin. It's a game that you just love to go to, isn't it, Graham? You'd
Yep.
love to be at it.
They call France England Le Crunch. I would say they call this the masterpiece. You know.
Why would they call it that?
I think it's a
The
bigger game than
masterpiece.
France. I would say in this tournament.
Really?
In this tournament, I think Ireland pack against the England pack is going to be huge. There's just two very equal teams at the moment because they both haven't really had the best tournaments and they're both going to be out to win. And it's in Ireland as well. That'll be very tough for England and for Ireland as well. But
yeah, last time we'll be buzzing. Have you ever been to Ireland England game?
Haven't no.
I went to a summer game, but it wasn't Six Nations, so it wasn't the same buzz.
What year was that, Ollie?
Oh, geez. 2012, 2013, sort of spec.
Yeah, there's always a bit of something to it. I think, Craig, like, everyone just hates England, don't they? Like, whenever they play Scotland, there's a rivalry there, Wales, France, and then I'd say the Italians probably hate them as well, to be honest.
I think the whole of Ireland hates
it
them
was
as
the
well.
Italians' best game, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think CJ will be playing for this game. He's like on track for this to be his last game for Ireland.
Yeah.
Was there any injuries from Ireland Scotland last week?
two big injuries. Ringrose and James Ryan are both out.
Yeah, two big impacts as well.
So Ollie, who are you bringing in from them two?
Well, I think I'll play second row. I'll play Henderson and Byrne, and I'll bring O'Mahony back in to cover 6. Centre, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Chris Farrell. I'd like to see Chris Farrell at 13 and Henshaw at 12, but I think what Andy Farrell will do is he'll play Aki at 12 and play Henshaw at 13, which is definitely a safe option. But I would like to see Chris Farrell get some caps, or maybe even a Stuart McCluskey wild card option. You never know.
Stuart McCluskey has not passed the England test. It's like one of the few tests he's had. Personally, I'm a big fan of the Aki Henshaw combination. I honestly prefer that to the Ringrose Henshaw combination. I think that you have a bit more size there. Yeah, Ringrose is creative, but I think that's just kind of the product of the way Ireland play, that they just kind of, the centres kind of have to create it themselves, and I think Henshaw is more than capable of creating that.
Yeah.
Graham, who would you start in the centre partnership?
I would have to go for Bundy, Aki, Henshaw as well. Henshaw is they're both quite big ball carriers, but I think Aki will bring something against England as well, because England have their big players and Ireland doesn't really have a big player in the centre, sort of. But I think Bundy will really bring that in, and I think you need a powerful player in the midfield, really. So
you do.
Yeah.
I think that England midfield is quite small, Slade and Farrell, so bringing in Bundy could be a good choice. And he also has something to prove. Like, he's going to want his starting jersey back, so
he will.
Get him, let him in and see what he can do.
Yeah, I don't really know why he was dropped. Like, I wasn't really a fan of that, to be honest. I absolutely love Bundy. I think he's fast. He seems like a great lad as well.
Yeah.
He brings the hype anyway. Like.
He does.
Yeah.
He
seems like the type of man who would love a bit of Fortnite or something, or Call of Duty. I don't know why, but
like Zebo or something.
Yeah. Ollie, anything you want to say on England quickly?
Kind of touched on it earlier. I think they had a little dip there, but I think that win against France is going to put them back on track, and I think they're going to be very, very dangerous. I think their pack is probably on the whole slightly better than ours, but I think their back line is a bit of a weakness of theirs at the moment. Like, Ford and Farrell, neither of them are playing that well. The back three, apart from Watson, have been very quiet. So
he's been dropped, hasn't he? And I wonder if he'll start next week.
Henry Slade's been just all right, like probably enough to get his jersey, but like nothing special. Ben Youngs has has been all right.
Nah.
It's going to be one in the forwards, really, isn't it? Like, what England did to us back last autumn was they just dominated us up front, and then doesn't matter how good your backline is if you just can't get the ball. So as long as the Ireland forwards can at least match the England pack, which I think they will do a lot better on this weekend, then I think we have a great chance.
Graham, do you agree with that?
And yeah, Ollie got it right, I think. But I feel like Henry Slade, I think, has been consistent for England. I rate him quite a bit. I think he's played well all the games. Anthony Watson as well. I agree with your the back three, Ollie. Yeah. And England, I think, are struggling for a 15 at the moment because they brought on that new man. I didn't really rate him. Didn't really seem to be adding any flair to the team or anything. Elliot Daly, I think, would be better. But,
he played all right. He
played all right, yeah. But
I think Daly will be back in.
Yeah. I didn't really trust him.
Daly seemed to offer quite a lot off the bench. I thought he seemed to definitely get a lot of more ball in hand going forward.
Yeah. It's like the Ireland and England are both in the same sort of position with forwards because they have so many to choose from and they've such good subs to come on as well. So it'll be a good battle in the scrum and forwards, I think, breakdown and everything.
Yeah, and good man Will Connors as well. Like he's definitely not looking on the place, is he?
No, definitely not. Played very well the other day.
Oh, he's been brilliant. Yeah, him and Ty Byrne have been the two outstanding forwards, I would say, and Henderson a third.
Yeah.
All right. So we had Le Crunch last week. We have Le Masterpiece at 4:45. Graham at 8 p.m. We have France v Wales. But what's that known as?
That Le Battle.
The battle.
Le War.
Is that a feminine now? So it's
what? Sorry?
or what? Is that plural? Le.
Le de for de in French.
It is.
Oh right. Okay.
I got a C in GCSE French, happy.
Graham, you have a very impressive knowledge base there.
I got a flipping D in French.
No, more I think about it, I didn't even do it for GCSE. Third class.
Right, so lead battle, Olly.
Battle,
this is the tournament decider, pretty much, isn't it?
It is. I think the battle is the perfect word for it because that's exactly what it's going to be. Some boy, Graham. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if Wales win it, then it's the tournament's decided. If France win it, then the France-Scotland game gets a lot more interesting, and France could be looking at winning the whole thing. I think I'll start off with my prediction. I think France will pip them. I think Wales have been, I don't know, I've said it a lot, they've been quite lucky, and I think France will want to bounce back from losing against England. And if it was in Cardiff, I'd be predicting Wales, but I think home advantage is going to get France a narrow win.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. I think, especially the home advantage. We've seen how, if you're at home, you're either going to win or you're going to lose by a few points. That seems to be the case, especially this tournament. France will be hurt, and this is a French team that have not been hurt that often in recent times. So how they react is going to be so interesting to see, especially against the first, second place battle. Graham, where do you think this game's going to be won? We've said the Ireland-England game's going to be won in the pack, but for me, I think this game is won by the backs.
Yeah, I agree, Chappie. Yeah, both two good backlines going against each other, and France. I think France's backline edges them a wee bit though. For just the way they've played the whole tournament, I think the French backline has definitely carried France through the whole tournament. I think. But it'll be very good game to watch. Wales will be out to win the championship, and then France are in a chance to win the championship as well at the moment if they beat Wales. So it just depends really on who comes out in the day.
Before this game is played, Olly, who do you think deserves to win the championship?
Who do I think deserve? That's a very tough question. I guess this is kind of dodging the question a little bit, but it's essentially Wales deserve to win it because they've won all their matches, haven't they? Like they might not have done it in the most convincing manner, but like they've just found a way to win every single match. And if you look at like World Cups over the years, like some teams have just managed to win games, like even if they haven't deserved it or haven't looked that good. Like South Africa in the last World Cup lost to New Zealand, and we're just kind of sort of quiet the whole tournament, and then they just suddenly had won it. Like so, I think that could be the same could be said for Wales in the Six Nations.
Yeah, Graham, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree completely with that, Ollie. Ollie's right there in saying you don't really know you don't really expect them to win it now after the games they've had, but I'd say they will.
I'm not often wrong, but
Ollie's not often wrong at all now, I have to admit.
Except for our predictions last week where I was 1 for 3.
1 for 3, yeah. Oh, I was 2 for 3 now.
So was I think.
Right, lads, let's just make our predictions here now, and then we will get on to Ollie's corner and Graham's yard as per usual. Scotland, Italy, will not waste any more time. Bonus point, Scotland win. Graham, Ireland, England. How do you see that one going?
It's a very tough one, but I have to back Ireland, but I feel England's going to edge it for some reason.
So, who do you think is going to win then?
I'm going to go for England.
Okay. Well, by how much?
Actually, I don't know.
Okay, we'll
2
come
points.
back to you. Ollie, what do you think?
I can see why Graham's struggling because it is a really hard one to call. I'm going to say Ireland by 7. It might be like a bit of heart overhead scenario. I think the home advantage will get them over the line. Ireland by 7.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think England by about 6 or 7. I think it'll be a very, very tight game. That both teams will go into it being like, we're not losing this. I think it'll probably be it'll be a classic, Scotland Ireland match. It'll be tense. It'll be edgy. There'll be a few penalties, and that's my prediction.
Yeah.
All right, on to the other one. France, Wales. Graham, are you more sure on this one?
It's still a tough one. I would probably go for. I'm gonna go for France based on their backline. I'm gonna say maybe about very tight, 5 points.
Okay.
Ollie, would you agree with that?
I agree with a France win, but I'm gonna back them quite heavily. I'm gonna say les Bleus. I'm gonna say France by 12.
Jeez, by 12.
Fair enough, Ollie.
Yeah.
This is the unbeaten team.
This is the Grand Slam as well, Ollie.
Yeah, but France are going to respond, and I actually think in the long term that loss to England is going to be good for that France team, and I think they're gonna do very well.
Fair enough.
All right, lads. Here, I'm disagreeing with both of you again. I just think you can't look past form. You can't look past the fact that one team has won all their games and the other team has lost. Well, we've lost 1 or 2, but like they still play Scotland, so they've lost the last one. They haven't played for a while. I'm going for a Wales win by about 4 points.
This is actually, I've just realised in my head there, this is France's first home game.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, they've been away for all the other 3, which I think is a huge factor as well.
It definitely is. Yeah.
Like, there's no shame losing by 3 points to England at Twickenham. Like, I think they're still the real deal, to be honest.
Yeah, all right. So those are our predictions for this game week. As per usual, we'll get it on the Instagram story. We'll get you all involved, and we'll see who knows ball and who doesn't. So we'll take a quick break here, and we'll get on to final segment of the show. Graham's Yard and Ollie's Corner.
Yep.
Right, see you in a bit.
See you later.
Welcome back to part 3 of Nuggets Don't Fly, episode 4. As always, we'll do our little segments here. We'll have a little bit of crack. I think we will. Olly, we'll start off with you. I think if that's all right, we'll head over to Olly's corner and see what he's got in store for us today.
We'll start strong. Welcome to my corner, everyone. Make yourself comfortable. Today I'm going to share I'm going to share 6 little nuggets of knowledge on the Nuggets Don't Fly podcast. So I've got 6 interesting facts for all the viewers, which you can impress your work colleagues with on the Zoom meetings across the nation. We're going to start off. Does anyone know what the national animal of Scotland is? For all the Scottish viewers, this one.
Highland cow?
Oh.
I'll give you a hint. This animal is a hint.
Right.
Oh, did you say a magpie, Graham?
No, a cow.
It's not a cow. It's similar. It's similar-ish to a cow.
Ah.
This animal is as rare as a Scottish win against Ireland.
So pretty rare.
Brain. Like
That's
for some reason, my first thought was like a fern, but I didn't no idea why.
I thought it was a Highland cow or something.
A fern's a plant.
Right then, I don't know.
Right, so the national animal of Scotland is actually a unicorn.
It's not real though, I thought.
Exactly. So it's as rare as the Scottish win against Ireland.
Very good.
Yeah, great.
Very
Unicorns aren't real. Yeah, we'll just reiterate that.
I know that.
Right. Next up, we're going stateside. We're going to America, and we're going to Connecticut. This is an actual fact from Connecticut. In Connecticut, it is illegal to sell anyone a pickle which will not bounce. So
we'll bounce.
Well, like you drop it on the floor, and if it doesn't like bounce,
I haven't looked into how it's policed, but it just says that if the pickle is bounceless, it's illegal to sell it to another person. So
how are these like laws and stuff like? How are this
You're-
sort of thing?
you're the law student, Chappie, so you can look into all this. I just provide the facts.
Free, jeez, that's mad. Was there not one in Scotland as well about you could shoot a Scotsman in Yorkshire or something if it was after midnight? It was a crossbow. There's some weird laws like
After midnight with a crossbow.
yeah, it's so specific, and he has to be Scottish as well.
Yeah, there's all these sorts of loopholes and all that, but I'd say that's a law that's broken every day there in Connecticut. So if you're ever there, don't get yourself locked up in American prison. Don't be selling pickles. Next
Cheers
one.
for that, Andy.
No problem. Lads, what do you think the longest word in the English language? Like, how many letters do you think it has?
104.
104? Not bad.
Jesus.
Not bad.
I would go for surely 50.
Both of you are miles off. I can't quote the word for obvious reasons because it's 189,819 letters.
Nah.
What? I thought you were
stop.
going to say 189 just.
No, 189,819 letters.
What does it
So-
mean? What would you use in the sentence?
That's
I have no idea. That's like more than a book, is it not? So I don't think anyone's going to use it. But
that'll help us.
Um,
Well, it won't really help us the word count actually. Though, so it only counts as one
it's
word.
only one word. It would help with the character.
Character count.
Yeah.
And we've got 2 more. This one, anyone who has a cat at home, so Stephen the Sheen can play along here. Did you know that cats have fewer toes on their back paws than their front paws?
Oh, didn't know that.
No.
I've
No,
never
how
noticed
many have they got?
I haven't got the numbers now. I'm guessing they have 5 on their front, don't they? And it must be 4 on their back, I would say.
I'd have to have a look when I get
No.
home.
Is that for climbing or something? No, what's happening?
I don't know. Yeah, it must
Yeah.
be something like that.
That must be why
some
they're
sort
so
of
good.
evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are a class of climbing actually. I
And
saw a
like
cat
jumping and
climbing
all,
the other-
yeah.
Yeah, they're unreal. I saw a cat being chased by a dog there the other day and it got away.
They are very fast, yeah. Fair
Classic.
play.
They're unreal. And last fact, lads, I'm sure the viewers have noticed we're all in the green, and that's because it's Paddy's Day tomorrow, Paddy's Day week.
Ew.
Did you know St. Patrick's Day used to be like, the colour used to be associated with it was blue. So like you used to wear, like way back in like the 1700s, 1800s maybe, you'd be out in the blue jerseys.
Alright.
Yeah, that
What?
was
Like
a
the
good.
Dublin top or something, or like what did you wear?
I don't know. Well, I'm guessing jerseys weren't really a thing back then. Like just anything blue. Like
Fair enough.
it's the same as like
Why
Santa.
was that?
Santa used to be green,
Yeah.
and he got changed to red because of Coca-Cola. So like, I think it got changed because like of the shamrock and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and it just
Really?
just became like
Did
colorless.
Coca-Cola change Santa's look?
Coca-Cola changed Santa's look. Yeah,
What?
Yeah, that's quite
Yeah.
cool actually. That's a good fact
No, I
there,
didn't
Olly.
know that.
that is cool. Thanks, Space.
Yeah.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
Ollie,
coming
yes,
to the
10 out
corner.
of 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Aye.
11 out of 10
That was-
even.
That was put together quite quickly, so
Fucking-
I'm happy with that now.
Aye. Fair play
Yeah.
on it.
My favourite one
Thanks
was
for
the
coming.
unicorn one. I think that was, yeah, that was class.
I like the cats one. Like I've never
Alright.
noticed it.
Yeah, I like the cats one.
Hmm.
I'll
I'm gonna
have
have
a
to
look.
check.
Yeah,
Can we
Yeah.
get any listeners to confirm as well? Like that would be kind of helpful.
yeah. You can just put it in the comments and subscribe at the same time.
Nice.
Sure, subscribe while you're at it. Right, yeah. I just have a quick thing here. This is my top 3 legends of the week. Just lads who deserve a shout out. Number 3, he's already been mentioned this podcast. St. Patrick. It's his birthday on Wednesday. We'll probably have a few drinks to celebrate. Like probably for
We
happy
will.
birthday.
Happy
Yeah, he's done a
birthday.
lot for the country.
He's old this year now. He must be very old.
Nah, it must be.
When did they start? 1736, did he say?
Oh, I don't know. It was 1700s anyway.
We'll have
I
to
think.
look it up. Aye.
Happy birthday to the big man anyway. Yeah, coming in at number 2, Romain Poet, or whatever he's called. Yeah, Ollie was picking him up off camera. He had a great game. Like he was getting involved in the rucks. He was making tackles. He was making carries. He was all around the park. I thought
He played better than James Lowe. Like
yeah, like he probably did. Like he influenced the game more in a better way.
It got stuck in anyway, which is good.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. Honorable mention before I get to the number 1 spot. It's big CJ lads. So in honor of his last appearance for Ireland, I think we should light a flame for him.
Yeah.
I think.
there we go.
Would you please join me with your? Yeah. Thank you, CJ.
Thank you, CJ.
Thank you, CJ. Good luck.
Yes, good luck in the future.
Yeah, number 1 spot, legend, biggest legend of the week, the jukebox. The big man played well, didn't he, Graham?
The
Do you
jukebox.
know who he is? Yeah.
I'm not sure who you're on about here, Chappie.
Ollie, do you know?
I don't know who the jukebox is. No.
Oh, lad, Tag Furlong.
Okay.
Is he
Fair,
called
fair.
the jukebox?
Yeah, because apparently the hits keep on coming with him. That was his nickname at Leinster.
That's a good one. Actually.
I like that.
Yeah, here he was unbelievable, wasn't he? Like his footwork and all, and like he getting the pass away, and just everyone just loves him, don't they? Like he is just a legend.
Big legend.
Yeah, he played a good game, like, and Frig, I'd definitely get him involved in Lions.
Yep.
So he's my biggest legend of the
Oh,
week.
definitely, yeah. Well deserved.
Yeah, very well deserved.
So yes, on to the final section now, Graham.
Yeah.
Over to your yard. What should we expect today?
So there's a bit of St. Patrick's fun today. There's a bit of something might be cooked, something might be cooked tomorrow, but I'll explain it now. But I need to get ready here. So yeah, that was till I collapsed by Eminem, getting us started, getting us psyched for the week ahead. So as we know, it's St. Patrick's weekend, or St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, and I'm gonna explain to you how to make a St. Patrick's Day cake. So yeah, and
Sounds nice.
I'm gonna give you all the recipe here, and then tomorrow you'll be able to actually see a photo of the one I've made. So tune in
Very
for
nice.
that on the Instagram. So
Is there green food coloring involved?
yeah,
Okay.
There is.
yeah. Is that okay, Chappie?
Okay, good man.
Aye. So first
Yeah,
step.
no, I'm just checking.
Alright, yep. First step. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Butter your pans. Line with butter. Whisk the flour, cocoa powder, baking soda, and salt in a bowl. And then for the.
Wait, what is the measurements here? You're just saying fuck everything into a
Do you want me to
bowl?
give the measurements as well?
It might help the viewers, but
Aye, okay, fair
Well,
enough.
if you,
Right.
yeah, how are we meant to know like what we're putting in?
Okay, well, I'll start again then. Right, so 2.5 cups of flour in your mixing bowl, 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, and you mix that all together. And
Okay.
then when you're doing that, or after that, whisk for the frosting, whisk a bit of butter, 1/4 cup.
What are you doing with all the stuff you've just put in a bowl? Is that just sitting to the side?
Aye.
Okay, right.
Actually, so you whisk the buttermilk, food coloring, and vanilla essence in a wee cup. So that's just like half a teaspoon each or so. That's just for a wee bit of.
Yeah.
For putting it
wee bit of
together.
oomph.
Yeah. And then you beat in 2 cups of sugar.
The eggs.
You have to beat people.
No, beat with the whisker, Olly.
Oh, okay.
Beat the 2 cups of sugar and a thing of butter in a mixer until it's nice and fluffy.
What's a thing of butter? Like what?
So like a cup. It says a cup, 1 cup, but that doesn't really make sense. Scraping down the sides of the bowl. Slowly add in 3 eggs and then beat them all together. Put in your part flour, buttermilk, and then you mix that all together and you put it in the oven. So like in a baking pan, so you put it all in the baking pan. Then that should all puff up and look unreal and green and everything.
If anyone manages to make this at
appetizing.
home, then fair play.
If you make this at home, then you'll be a legend. You'll be on the next show.
They'll get a shout out, won't they?
Yeah. For the frosting now, so the best part, the frosting. Put flour in a saucepan. Not sure how much because it doesn't actually say for some reason.
Alright.
Whisk in half a cup of milk until it's nice and thick. Slowly whisk in more milk. Kick over some heat, and then that's actually it. Then you scrape the frosting into a bowl and refrigerate it, and then you put it all around your cake.
Lovely.
And then
lovely stuff.
Yeah. Then you can
enjoy.
So yeah, enjoy it. So do you know what I mean by whisking your wee icing sugar on top?
Oh, we do, yeah.
So you put a wee bit of icing sugar on the top, and then that should.
What would you enjoy that with, Graham? Would you have a bit of ice cream with that?
Yeah, you could have a wee scoop of ice cream with that on it.
Yeah.
Get a wee
By the times you could enjoy it by itself.
Yeah.
A cup of tea at least, like.
So if you want,
tea.
I can cook that for you tomorrow and have it ready.
That'll be unreal.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. That's from Graham's corner. Or Graham's yard.
Yeah, it's Graham's yard. It's not Graham's corner. And on that note, I think that'll wrap it up for today, lads.
No problem.
Thanks very much, Graham, for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Chappie. It was good to be on once again.
And thank you very much, Olly, for your
Thanks for having me. Becoming quite the occurrence, isn't it? And happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
Yes, happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
Hopefully you have a good week, good Super Saturday. Stay tuned next week. Lads, should we tell them what's in the works, or what do you think?
Maybe give a wee hint. Yeah.
Give a wee hint. Give
Olly,
if you want
to give a small hint what to expect.
There'll be a bigger hint next week, but for now, just a wee hint. There is a certified professional rugby player scheduled to join the podcast very soon. So for anyone who thought this was a piss take, we're actually we're getting some serious contracts in here. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Yeah. So just keep a lookout on Instagram and listen to us on YouTube as well every week for more detail. That's everything for this episode.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next week for a review of the final match week and review of the tournament as a whole. See you later.
See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.